20, I'll bring me the fan. And plug it in out here in the hall. Plug it in out here in the hall. Just set it inside the door. Hello, ladies. Give me a second to get everything up here. Please, if you can hear me, let me know. Yesterday we had some audio difficulties. I just want to make sure today that we're rocking and rolling okay. So if you can hear me, please let me know. Hello, hello. Okay. Hi, Sherry. Can you hear me? Can you hear me okay? Perfect. Okay. Yesterday we had audio difficulties and I just didn't want to have to do what we did yesterday. Hey, babe, before you go, will you make sure I can open the E6000 today? Yeah, that's perfect. Hands aren't having it. All right, tell her when you get it. I'll go ahead and start. Okay, we're going to make a swag. You got it? Yeah. Awesome. Thank you, honey. Okay, we're going to make a swag today. And the first thing we always do is get our sign backs ready so they have time to cure while we're making and adding the greens. Okay, so this is a 24-inch teardrop. I got this, I believe, at Joann's maybe. I bought them in bulk. I bought like a case. So we're going to use an 8-inch round sign that says, "As for me and my house, we will serve the Lord," Joshua 24:15. I was thinking this would be a good spring, maybe even Mother's Day, or just a year-round religious type gift. Hi, Midge from Southern California. Welcome. I have a family in NorCal, in San Jose, Modesto, kind of spread all over. So welcome. Yeah, so 24-inch teardrop evergreen swag, 8-inch round sign, and we're gonna roughly place it in the middle. So you want your backs to be north and south. So I just set it down on a protected surface because, you know, our cutting mats sometimes are kind of rough. So I just set it on a protected surface so we don't mar up the front. And then we put on our little backs, and here's the fun part. Woo. So when you're working with florals, instead of throwing away all those end pieces, cut them off and save them. They work great for stirs, for U-pick or U-pins, all kinds of good things. It leaked out onto my cutters. No epoxy on the cutters. All right. So what I do is I take one of these pieces that I've cut off. Instead of squirting big, you know, big globs all over, I get a little bead on my piece here, and I take and go along the edge. And as I'm going along the edge, I kind of push it up under the edge of that mount and make sure it overlaps onto the top edge. This is how I've always done my mounts. I've never had any customer complain that their signs fall off. The key to this is using enough, using it the right way, and letting it cure for 24 hours. None of my wreaths go out for 24 hours. So I have a 24-hour cancellation policy, so nothing ever goes out before that 24-hour mark, unless special arrangements have been made, of course. So mine always have time to set up before they're plopped in the mail. But I swear by E6000. And by doing it this way, I feel like you use a little bit less product as well. And you don't have to worry about how sloppy this part is because it's all going to be hidden inside. Nobody will ever see it. On like my grapevines and stuff, when we do this, I'll cover this part with some moss, you know, in the final stages. But for a swag like this, when you're not going to see the center of it, I'm not too particular with it. Okay. So we'll set that to the side and let it set up. Hi, Lori. How are you today? We'll let the sign set up while we're working on the rest. Okay, I'm going to add a little bit of mesh to the base. And then we're going to add some florals. Here, I didn't show you this part. Some florals that complement the sign. So we're going to add these and some filler. But we're going to start with the mesh. So I've got this 10-inch mesh. It's got like jute fibers of pink, but the actual mesh part is clear. So it's just a subtle addition. We're going to cut these at 21 inches or 20 or 22, just somewhere in that range that cuts between two lines. We're going to ruffle them, so it's okay if they're a little bit, each ruffle's a little bit longer or shorter. You're not going to know. I just want you to cut between those two lines, wherever that falls. I'm doing good, better than last week. I'm doing good. Doing good. I get so confused with the Eastern time and Central time. I wasn't watching my time, and I was still thinking I had an hour. It's like, no, but I do this all the time. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We're going to start with about 6 pieces, maybe 7. Oh, we're going to do 7. For this, I'm going to pull it down. Sometimes you get lucky on these and they already have an evergreen branch that makes a nice loop. And sometimes you just have a really tiny little hole. So in that case, I just put a zip tie through it while I'm designing it. And then I'll put an official hanger on it at the end. Probably some rustic covered wire or some of the thick tinsel rope like you get on the wire frames. You guys know I use that in the roll. So, right, I'm just fluffing the base a little bit, just separating all of the branches. Kind of fluffs it out, makes it look dense. All right. Now we're going to use the ties. You get confused about Central Time. See, I'm glad I'm not the only one. Thank you. I just get so used to looking at my clocks. Okay, I've got, X amount of time And then, you know, not remembering when I'm in a hurry to convert it. It's like, whoops. So if I'm ever running a little, you know, an hour behind, y'all know why. My premenopause brain going crazy. All right, so we just ruffle these a little bit. They don't have to be super perfect. We're going to start up here at the top, kind of do it off to one side. Take 2 branches and twist. Okay, and then fluff out your ruffle. Woo! If you see it's a little lopsided, just gently pull it through. There we go. Now this stuff frays like there's no tomorrow, this, you know, clear plastic mesh. So try to keep those edges turned under. Hi, Sherry from Virginia. Hi, Avnell. Maybe I should start doing Saturday evenings. All right. Now we're going to come to the other side and do the same thing. There we go. So what I did by putting the 2 side by side is I gave a nice solid wide base for my, like a backing for my bow when we put the bow on. So how I'm ruffling these, I just kind of unfold it. That's the natural curve. I unfold it and just kind of tuck the edges in and then ruffle it. If I get it lopsided, I just straighten it up in my hand before I put it onto the wreath. Just keep those edges turned under. And we're going to come up under this one a little bit. Now, if you've got an evergreen base that you're working with that is full of tips, so you've got a really nice dense evergreen base, sometimes you might want to take some of those tips and just push them to the back like this. Give yourself a nice solid back. I'm going to have a bunch of extra because I don't want all of these poking up the top. At least if you pull them to the back, it gives a flat base and it'll lay flatter on your door. So just tuck the edges in and scrunch. And there's probably a name for this technique. I don't know. I've gotten in trouble so many times for calling something the wrong dang name. I don't even try anymore. It's a ruffle, you guys. So if there's a proper name for it, y'all can correct me in the comments, but it's a ruffle as far as I know. Okay, see how we're looking so far? Hold that down a little bit. Okay. So I went to that side. So basically now we're just going to zigzag them down. I'm probably going to have to cut 1 or 2 more pieces because I put them closer than I thought I would. But we're just going to zigzag down. Now remember, you can fold the extra ties to the back. If you see you need more, you can pull them through. But to get them out of your way, to get the mesh on, totally just push them to the back. And that's, you know, it's not going to hurt anything. Ruffle works. Good. Thank you. Right, so again, we just take the natural curve, let it curve in a little bit, and then just scrunch. Okay, so go back and forth, one side to the other side. Remember, the sign's probably going to sit right there. So I kind of pull those pieces a little to the side. That one, I just got to cut that ravel. It's so bad, I can't stand it. I don't like the way that's laying. If you don't like the way something's laying, take it back out. Don't just roll with it. Alrighty, I'll put this one back in. There we go. And make sure some of these are pointing down because, like I said, our sign's going right there. So we're trying to make a little bed for it to lay on. Nice little bed. It's going to go right there. Okay, so we need probably 2 more pieces. Where'd my mesh go? And so off one roll of this mesh, you could do several of these. Easy. One. I'm going to do 2 because I think 2 is going to be all we need. We have to watch when you start putting mesh and stuff down on the bottom of a teardrop. You have to be mindful not to lose the shape. So at the top, we put them side by side to give the width. Then starting here, we're going to kind of zigzag back and forth a little bit. And then down here, we're going to put one here and one on here. So that kind of gives the narrow point of the swag. You like this mesh, Christy? I bought it in several colors last year and didn't really use it much. I think I used it twice. So I thought this year I was going to try to incorporate it into more designs because it really is nice mesh. It gives the perfect subtle pop of color. You like to tuck your edges? Definitely tuck those edges. I don't mind mesh that frays. You just have to use the right technique on it. That's all. That is all. Okay, I'm going to put the last piece in and see how I like it. Uh-oh, did I lose everybody? Hold on. Let me see. Did I lose everybody? Are we back? Let me know if you're still here. It looks like I might have lost you guys. You did, and you used it all. It's good stuff. Really, really pretty. Okay. Can somebody let me know if you can still see me? All right. Well, I see it on my phone. I'm not seeing it on my computer. So I'm going to continue. Somebody just please let me know in a comment so I can see before I go through this whole tutorial. Okay, I see somebody say all good here. All right, so I'm seeing on my phone, my computer for some reason says, sorry, we're having trouble playing this video, learn more. So I didn't know if it cut me off, but I guess we're still good. So I'm gonna keep going. All right, so we have our mesh on, wide up here, narrower as we go down. And it's okay that there's a little bit sticking out down here. We're gonna have other stuff, greens, ribbons, and that kind of stuff. So that's okay. And as you can see on the back, I pushed a whole bunch of the green, to the back. It gave a good base, but there's no way we need all of that up front. And it's okay that you don't use it, okay? Yeah, I'm not sure what's up. We had technical difficulties yesterday and today. It's just, I don't know. The joy of doing lives, y'all, but I'm glad you're patient with me. Okay, so when we're working on a swag, a teardrop, we're going to put our sign on first, because then that tells me exactly how high. This ain't really super dry yet. But we put our sign on first because that tells me how high I need to place the bow. Sometimes I might place it a little lower if I put my sign lower. Sometimes I may place it right here on top and put stuff coming out the top to give height to the piece. So that's why we start with this. I'm gonna since this is going on a bed of mesh and there's no strain, I'm going to go ahead and attach the sign. It's going to be fine. Hi, Diane. I didn't see you pop in. Welcome. Okay, so all I'm going to do is find out where I want to place the sign and then just take the pipe cleaners, run it down around the base and twist it around to secure it. So right about there. So just find a hole, push it through with my finger, pull it through, just like that. You can also use zip ties. I'm running a little low on my smaller zip ties. So since this wasn't a heavy piece, I can totally get away with just using a pipe cleaner. And I used green ones, so it masked with the frame. So you can hide those mechanics. Hi, Robbie. Welcome. Hi, Mary. What's everybody doing this fine evening? My husband is making sheet pan nachos because it's football playoffs and our team is playing. So if you hear loud hooting and hollering, it's because they're watching it in the living room. And I've got the door open here so you can hear them. All right, so we got our sign on. How adorable is that already, y'all? I mean, look. So stinking cute. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is add our bow. And you know what? I forgot to pull ribbon. So let me walk right here. I don't know if you'll be able to see me. But you can still hear me. I'm going to pull some ribbon. So we got pink and navy. I'm just going to pull a couple of options. Navy. Let's see for some pink. What do we got for pink? I really enjoy that for pink. This. All right, so here's some options. The sign might look a little black, but it is indeed navy. And there just went my ribbon. I have another one like it, so that's good. I also have, we'll just stick with that. Okay, so I pulled some options here. Only 1 2-inch. A lot of times when I'm doing these narrower flags, I don't like to use the 2.5-inch because it takes up so much real estate. Robbie, I'm using a 24-inch pine base that I got from Joann's, I believe, is where these came from. And I ordered them in bulk. I ordered a case. Okay. So, the bow maker and this. When I'm choosing ribbon, if I'm having a hard time, sometimes I'll just take what I'm using in the wreath, bunch it all together in my hand, like so, hold it up here, and I stack my ribbon on the table underneath my stand. And I eyeball what I like best, what matches best. So that's how I pick. I like this pink. However, I do want to bring in a little more of the navy because all we have navy going on is the sign. We've got a pink base and we've got a lot of pink in the flowers. The pink will be toned down with the green, of course, but we still need to bring in some navy. So when choosing, even though pink goes well, you either need to choose a navy if you're going to choose one ribbon, or choose a navy in combination with the pink if you're going to go with more than one. You know, Lori, I've never done that, and I'm glad you told me that because I just bought 2 on clearance at my local store, the Trees and Trends, the one that is like in the south here, and they were like really super long. I think they might have been like 36-inch, and I've been thinking as I'm sitting there, I'm like, what am I going to do with these beasts? Because I can't ship something that large. I just, yeah. So thank you. I'm going to give that a try. Do you suggest trimming some of the branches down, or how do you do that? Maybe you could teach us. Okay, so having said all of that, we're going to use, I'm really leaning towards those selections, but I don't hate that. But yeah, I'm leaning towards those selections just because they're a little, I don't know, maybe more sophisticated. If you were giving this as a church gift or a gift to your mom, I guess in my mind, I would want it to be a little less whimsical and a little more maybe formal, I think is the word I'm looking for. Sometimes I choose bad words, you know, I choose my words poorly. So I think we'll do the Swiss dot in the 2.5-inch. And then I really love this ribbon. It's got like a gold honeycomb almost pattern on it. And I have it in a couple of colors, but I really like that. Just brings a little shimmer to it. And then I've got a 1.5-inch blue paisley, floral paisley, I guess. And then the white gingham or the pink gingham with white daisies, I'm going to assume that is. So we've got some options. If I do a terry bow, I could use them all. And then we can put ribbon down the side as well. Let's do that. Let's do a terry bow, y'all. I know y'all have a hard time seeing when I sit there. Hang on. Let me see if I can move to this side and help y'all out. My chair is going to be on an incline, but that's okay. I need my scissors. I need anything else over there? I don't think so. I need these. I'm going to extend my pipe cleaner this time before we get started because I always forget to do that. So basically, to give a little bit of length to my pipe cleaner, I cut one in half and just attach one half to each side. And then that'll be enough. Sometimes when you've got a really thick bow, you need all that extra length. And sometimes you don't, but it's better to have it and not need it than need it and not have it. That's going to come apart. Yeah, that one broke actually. It's weird. That pipe cleaner broke. Let's do this. Looks like I'm still going. Okay, my computer went completely black. This is lovely. No idea. Okay. So I'm going to put my ribbon or my pipe cleaner through the Bodabra and just pull that to the back and set it back on top of it. Now for the bow. We're going to do 8-inch tails just because I like to have a little extra to work with. For sure. And we're going to do 10-inch, no, 12-inch. Hello, Casey. How are you today? You made it just in time to see how I do my bow. All right. So when putting it in the bow maker, I do the crisscross, tails, loops, make an X. And as with every bow I make, I hold down on one side of the Bodabra and I go down here and I start fixing all of the pleats and edges, because that's what can make or break your bow opening and laying pretty. Yes, you get to watch me make a bow. We're making a terry bow. All right, so that is the first one. Let me get my pin cushion here. Sometimes it's a little hard because I have no feeling in my thumb and finger because of my neck. So sometimes it's hard to do that. I'm going to put, because, you know, a terry bow is layered, I'm going to put this with the white daisies on the bottom because I want it to be less prominent than this gold. I kind of want the gold to be on top, I think. Man, I always second guess myself when it comes to ribbon, even still. But yeah, I want the gold to be on top. So I'm going to bury this down in the bottom layers. So 8-inch tail, 12-inch loop, twist, make another 12-inch loop, bring it to the back, and twist. And leave them crisscrossed because that's the way we place it into the Bodabra. Oh, I Kids used the scissors. Now, when building a terry bow, I alternate. So if I've got tails going this direction on this layer, the next layer needs to have bows or loops go in that direction. So just lay it in there and then start the work down here. It got twisted as I put it in, twisted the wrong way, that is. So I'm fixing it now. All right. There's that layer. All wired ribbon. Yes, ma'am. I don't suggest using unwired because it doesn't hold its shape. Now, you can get this stuff, what's it called? Acetate, I think it's called. Like the stuff they put in collars, you know, for stiffness. You can get that and cut it and form it inside your bows. I do that for shipping sometimes. But yeah, I don't suggest using non-wired ribbon unless that's all you've got to work with. And then if that's the case, you're going to want to use some kind of stiffening agent. So our tails are 8 inches long. Our loops are 12 inches long. Okay. Now, remember, we alternate. So we've got loops going there, so tails need to go there. So just take and pull your tails to the right sides before you put it in. That's all you got to do. Now I'm going to put another layer. Since a terry bow typically has 6 different ribbons, I'm going to put another layer of the 2.5 inch navy Swiss dot. Okay, so tails, this time it'll be loops. Okay. Now I'm going to put one more of the gingham. 8, 12, twist, bring it to the back, scrunch, and twist. All right, so we've got loops, so this time it'll be tails. Now watch when you're switching the tails because sometimes you can twist up what you've got here in your thumbs and it makes it a little more difficult to straighten it up when you lay it in the bow maker, but not a huge deal. All right, I'm actually going to put one extra layer in this bow. I'm going to put, so they need to be 12. I'm going to do this. Sometimes if I want to add a little bit of extra of one type of ribbon, I cut a tail the length of what you're measuring your loops to be, and just place it in there like that. So what this does, it brings in a little more of the navy, which we wanted to do. I'm going to bring in actually one more of these as well, and then put the pink on top, I think. So maybe we'll call this a modified terry bow, because it's not exactly a terry bow, but I say terry bow because that's the basis of it. This one. Just add that tail in too, like that. And this one will go on the top. Okay, so again, look to the layer that had the last actual bow in it, not the tails, the actual bow. That would be that one. So we've got loops going that way. Those need to be tails. Just loop your tails. Perfect. Okay, now you'll take your pipe cleaner, pull it up off the bottom. When I pull my bow up maker up off the table, I put my finger down here so my bow doesn't go anywhere. And I pull the pipe cleaner up through the top, cross it through the little slats in the top, and then I cinch down as hard as I can while it's still in the bow maker. Then I pull it up, I grab it between my thumb and fingers, and I squeeze it together. I pinch it together as I'm pulling it out. And then just work your pipe cleaner a little tighter. Then at the back, pinch it tight and twist your bow. That's going to give you a really tight twist on your bow, and you can really be rough with it. Whew. All right, I'll do a little forming before I put it on, but most of the time I do it once it's on the wreath. Okay. So now we just find the right placement in relation to our sign. Right about there. If there's pine needles in the way, just push them to the side. And then run this around the frame and tie it off real tight. Trim off your excess, and then fold that back up inside the wreath. There you go. Now I kind of pull the mesh to the side so the bow sits down in there a little better. And then I form it. And, you know, this part could take hours. I could fool with a bow forever. And then we'll just go through and cut our tails. I wait till I get it on the wreath to cut my tails because sometimes I might want them to be a little longer than others. Just little. So I like to give myself a little bit of extra length to work with just in case if it's needed. Good. Oh, thanks so much what you're doing. And I go ahead and form the bow a bit before I start working because I'm going to be placing florals and greens around the bow. So I want it to be kind of in its mostly final resting spot. So from this side, I forgot to cut a couple of tails. Hey, Bubby. Bye, Mama. Bye, baby. I'll trim these down just a little more. This pink ribbon is more of a fabric, and it doesn't hold curl very well or hold shape very well. It's wired, but it's not a super duper heavy duty wired. Okay, I think that's good for now. Moving on. Oh, there's that other tail. It's like I'm missing a tail. I'm happy with that. I do believe. All right. So now that we've got that one, we'll add a few flowers. We will end up adding a little more ribbon and another little bow down here. Maybe we should go ahead and do the little bow since we're at it. Very fun. Hi. Yeah. All right. So for the bottom, we are going to do not as big a bow. Okay. When you're doing a swag, be mindful of your shape. So you want a bigger bow up here at the top, smaller bow down at the bottom. So we might just do like a little hand bow. We're gonna have a little bit of tail, about like that, I think. Yeah. So that is 22-inch tail. We're gonna do 10-inch loops. I cut this one just a little shorter. Where's my bow, Deborah? What did I do with my bow? So we'll set that in the bow, Deborah. And then we're gonna add trying to decide. We don't want to put every selection in there. We're going to try that one. How well does this curl? That actually might make my mind up for me. Oh, it curls really nice. Yeah. Okay, we're going to do that. So move that out of my way. We're going to do, we did 10-inch, so we'll do an 8-inch. I lied. We're going to put it in there. Um, Going to do these 8-inch as well. This one, we're going to do 7-inch. And it's only getting one loop. I'm going to, because I didn't put this in first, I'm just going to lift up the bow, slide it under a little bit, and do the same thing. Cross the stems, cinch down on it, pull it up, squeeze it real tight as you work the pipe cleaner a little tighter. Fold them up together, grab, and twist. Okay. I likey. So we're going to put this one just below that side. Kind of move the mesh out of your way if you need to. Oh, I may have to take this down for this. And then that's going to make me have to redo the top bow, but or refluff it anyway. Okay, then just push that pokey edge to the center. Some of these are going to curl, some of these are going to dovetail. You know, I like to do a mix and match. Tails are going to be different lengths. I don't want uniformity here. The tails that curl well, we give a nice clean edge. Then we fold that under twice, just a little fold. That keeps the wire from working its way out. Give it a good crease. And then just roll it. Hi, Linda. How are you? Now these big tails, I'm going to curl them too. Just so. All right. Now, I'm going to just get my bow sitting up top again. Doesn't have to be all fluffed out, but I want it sitting where I want it, where I start gluing in florals. All right, that's good enough for now. Hold it up a little better. What do y'all think? I have to wait for it to pop up on my phone screen because my computer is saying nothing. Oh, moving on. Let's add some flowers. We may still end up adding a little more ribbon down the sides, so I'm not putting my ribbon away just yet. I don't use the extra greens on these because they're so thin. But here's what I'm talking about. Oh, when we're done cutting stems, this is what I actually cut off. And add to my little collection here. Ta-da! All right, so how many flowers do we have here of each color? We've got 4 red, 2, 3 that are doubles, 1 single. We've got 4 pink, a big cluster with, looks like 2 singles, 3 singles. Taking some of these greens out. Might leave just a few. I don't have to take them all. So yeah, I'm going to leave one set of leaves on some of these. Okay. I want to pick one. You're not going to need very long stems, so you'll end up cutting most of that off. All right. Here's where our glue skillet becomes our best friend. So I'm going to start right here around the bow with the longer pieces. This one's got 2 on it, so I'm probably going to come right in here because there's we're going to cover the sides as well, but the sides I can cover with some ribbon and some greenery. So when it comes to covering negative space on the front part of the wreath, I want to put some of my focal flowers there, okay? So I take one of the pine branches and I make like a curly Q. Aw, thank you, ladies, so much. I make like a little curly Q and a place for me to slide that flower stem into. So basically I make a round circle with the pine stem. And when I put glue on my tip, I put it through that circle. So all that circle grabs onto the glue and it helps hold it in. Take it through the circle, just like that. Now you don't want to push these deep, deep into the frame. You're not trying to bury them in the pine branches, okay? All right, there we go. Still not setting right. I didn't make my stem short enough. That is something you're going to want to make sure you do, because when you're working on a stand like this, if they're too long, it pushes back at you. So make sure you're not using a really long stem. This isn't like working on a grapevine where you need that extra length to get where you're getting. Nope, not this. There we go. If you drop glue across your sign, wait for it to dry, and it comes right off. If you go immediately and try to smear it off with your finger, that's usually how you can end up ruining a sign. Just let it dry. It dries in one hard blob, and you can pick it off in like a little button. Okay. Now we're going to take a pink one and come over to this side. Yeah, maybe about 20 minutes, okay? Then we'll come on this side. Make sure there's a little pocket to glue into. Just like that. I do believe I have more of these if I needed them, don't I? Don't I? Sorry for shaking you. Yeah, I do have more. All right. We put one here. We're going to put a dark pink one up here. Balances it out. Got my fan blowing again, so. We'll do another pink one over there. I'm going to go for a pink one that's got a double. I got these at Walmart, I think. So these dark pink ones are going to be our triangle pattern up here at the top. Just like that. So gorgeous. Then we'll just go down and fill in every little bit with some flowers. Just randomly spacing them for now. It's okay if leaves kind of cover the front of the sign a little bit. I'm going to put another one right in there. It doesn't matter if you put two colors right together. In nature, sometimes you see colors together. They all don't, grow in a pattern. So it is okay to add more than one flower in a grouping. Okay, we're going to bring in some pink. Now, when we add these big pink ones, we're going to go here and here, across from each other. Okay. I'm going to get another double here. I'm going to go here. Okay, so far. Yeah, these are pink ranunculus that came from Walmart. I'm just taking a pine stem, an extra one, and wrapping around this one to give it extra stability. That's all I'm doing. And I'm bending that a little forward. Okay. Got another pink one. We'll put it back here, I think. Probably need to wait. How many? 1, 2, 3, 4. One more pink one. I think we got to add all this other stuff. We have so much other pretty stuff. So I'm going to back off on the flowers for a minute because we don't want to get our piece too full. We're going to go in and add some of this spring green. Now, when you get these pieces, sometimes they're like spread out all down the stem. I take the time and arrange each grass leaf or blade and push it up to the top. Okay, I'm almost done. All right, so we're going to put this in all around the perimeter. It's going to go in the back here. So I kind of put it coming out of like the loop or the ruffles. Okay, when you're putting this stuff in the perimeter, be mindful of your shape. So this needs to stick out further than this down here. So you just push it further into the center and that kind of shrinks it in a little bit. I'll put some up in the top. We'll probably use 2 of these, or at least 1.5 at least. Adorable. I didn't know you were still here, Lori. Like, everybody's always so quiet, but then I'm not a real big talker on my live, so I'll get better. And I like the wild look of the grass. I try to make no rhyme or reason of it. It just kind of goes, wah! Debbie Turner is your sister. Okay. Well, nice to meet you, Debbie. I will learn everybody and everything as we go. Because in the time frame of my lives, not many people come, so it's usually pretty quiet. Everybody always catches the replay. We're almost done with this green. We'll have used either 2 whole or almost 2 whole picks of this stuff. But it's, you know, not that expensive. Logan, please go now. The little guy's sitting here next to me making siren noises. It's like, what? I think I'm going to put one more piece up under the bow here. That helps give a nice little back to the bow. There we go. Holds it up. All right, what else do we have to add here? We've got a little bit of lavender. What is this called? Oh, what is this? Queen Anne's lace? Is that what this is? Queen Anne lace? I think we may put some of that in there. I also had some of this. This is, does it tell me what it is? It just says bush. This is bush. This might be good. I brought a little bit of white wildflower. We might fill in a couple areas with these. Yeah. I always try to bring in a little white into every design. Not always, but a good bit of the time I do. It doesn't have to be a lot. It can be just a little. Once I get these, we'll bring in a little bit more green, and we might put in some of that purple. We're going to use the rest of this bush. Did I have another one? Yeah, I have another one. We used partial of this bush in our design the other day. Remember, we don't keep those yucky greens. And we cut off all these pieces. These are gold. Okay, if they're too small, I don't keep them. They have to be big enough to use. And by use, I mean at least stir or fold into a U shape to make a U pin. Sometimes I use these and as a pick. All right, so I've got 3 pieces here. You need there and there. Okay, where'd they go? I'm gonna put some coming out of that side right there. Got this other bush. What we'll need, probably 1, 2, 3, probably. Put some down the sides. The sides need love too. It's hot. I have a little bit of this. It was the darker. I know I had some darker somewhere. Maybe not. I think we'll just use this. I'm going to use this around the perimeter to kind of fill in the sides, mask the evergreens that are just screaming at you on the side. And then I will use the Queen Anne lace to bring in the purple throughout to make it look like a uniform piece. One more piece on the side. Gorgeous. Right. So now we'll bring in the Queen Anne lace. Well, I didn't mean to do that, did I? I pulled it apart. Now, where do we want these? Nope, that is not it. Not with the leaves. Is that not sticking? Look on it. I keep pulling the heads off of these. I get glue literally everywhere, y'all. Everywhere. It looks like I've got 2 more pieces of this. I'll cut that up later. Piece up there. So just trying to balance out these pieces now throughout the wreath. All right. If I've only got like 1 piece left of something at the end, I will try to find a place for it just so I'm not trying to hold on to 1 piece, you know. Well, let's go back and add a few more flowers into the face here, I think, with the pink. Then we might be done. Thank you, Robbie. I came out here and wasn't even really sure what we were going to make today, to be honest. So I'm glad it came out okay. I'm going to have to do something about that. I don't like the way that sign's sitting. So when you don't like the way a sign is sitting on a swag, take your handy dandy cordless glue gun. Go up in there and put some glue on the back of your sign. And glue the pine branches to the back of your sign. If you wanted, you could totally just glue it to the pine branches before you started adding anything. I'm just giving it a second so it holds on. That's every live for you. All right. Beautiful. Way better. All right, see. Let's look. Turn to the side. The side looks okay. This side looks okay, sort of. Maybe we need a little bit more in there. What do we got? What do we got? I don't want to open any more pits, but I also don't want to change the shape of it. We'll do white. Got one white here. So this is like what I do at the end. I take all the little scraps on my table because you can find a place for them. There's a place for it always. I like them on top. Got one piece, one piece, one piece. I think this could probably still go under the bottom and cover some of that greenery coming out the bottom. That's what we'll do with this one. There we go. And this pink one, I'm almost thinking needs to kind of come out the top. So here's what we do. We take one of these long pieces that we cut once upon a time. We get us some floral tape and we pick a flower. Voila. So I gave it some height so I can get it to sit where I want it. And I want it to kind of bend forward and look forward a little bit. Ah, 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 ah. Okay. I think we're done. We got this one little piece of purple right here. I'm going to put right in the center of the bow. There we go. Okay. I'll hold it down for y'all. See, the back is clean, except for it looks like I see one stem. We'll just cut that off right now. So clean back, pretty back. Won't have to do anything to that before you box it up. There you go. So it says, as for me and my house, we will serve the Lord. Thinking this would be good for spring, Mother's Day, a church gift, a religious gift to, a good friend. So this is an any time of year kind of wreath. I can see down that hole. Here's a pet peeve of mine. I don't know if any of y'all have this or not, but when you do ruffles or curls, you can like see down like a tube. I have to fix those. I can never just leave those. So what we'll do, so we don't have to pick off anything else, we will cut one of these little green pieces out of one of the grass stems, and we're going to glue it right there inside that. See, just snipped off one piece, and right inside that loop, you can just look down that loop. So there. Now I look and I don't see down a tube. Everyday wreath. Yes, ma'am. Hey, Susan. You're welcome, Sherry. Thank you, ladies, so much. I appreciate y'all coming and hanging out with me today. I know it's not my regularly scheduled time, and I apologize for that, but I wanted to get that makeup in for you guys. I can still see down that tube. I should have cut a little bit more, but I'll fix it later. Just don't leave those tubes open. So any other questions before I hop off here? You want to see how long it is? Hang on, I'll tell you. Tip to tip, we're looking at about 34 long, about 21 wide, and about 9 inches deep. Well, it'll probably be more along the lines of about 33, 32 inches long once I fix that bottom ribbon right there. Susan, the base was a 24-inch pine evergreen that I got from Joann's. I ordered a case. Gosh, I got something just tickling my face. I ordered a case from Joann's because I like doing these little swags like this for spring, and they make the perfect base. Well, as you can see. And I took a lot longer making this one than I should have because I wasn't really sure what I was going to do before I came in here. But it came together nicely. So yeah. All right, ladies, I hope you have a great rest of your weekend. And I won't be here on Christmas Day, of course. We're all going to be with our families, but my makeup day for Christmas Day is going to be the following day. So I'll do next week's class on Saturday. Okay. So y'all have a Merry Christmas, and I will see y'all soon. Love y'all.